Hey guys, happy Tuesday. I am super excited to be hosting this call. As you guys know, I took it over last week and there's a playlist. I added it to my channel right now, but I do believe that Amber is going to be making a playlist as well. For Thrive Stars anyways, I get all the pages confused, but anyways, you guys, we are here with one of my absolute favorite 200Ks. Okay, I'm a little biased because she has been with me since day one of my journey with Lavelle and very much of my journey through network marketing. Even though we were sidelines, in a previous venture. So anyways, Lacie, we are excited to have you. I know you said your daughter had lessons today. You said your daughter, right? I thought you
Yes.
said your daughter. I was like, wait a second. Lacie has a lot of kids. She's like me. We're a blended family. So we definitely have our fair share of busyness, which is just another evidence that you can do this business from anywhere and everywhere and around your chaotic schedules. So Lacie, why don't you start off by kind of letting people know a little bit about you, like how you got started, how long you've been in this industry, and kind of telling your story. I'm going to mute myself for just a second because I will interrupt like yesterday's business. I'm going to let you just run with it for a minute and then I'll jump in and ask some questions along the way.
Okay. Yeah. So I always joke a little bit. Jamie used to have to like pretend mute me. I do have my baby with me and I told him not to talk, but he's probably going to anyways. Yeah, so I have a hard time staying compliant, which is why I don't usually speak on corporate calls, but I got into this industry 10 years ago. I was diagnosed with cancer at 24 years old. And that just kind of rocked my world. And I was like, whoa, I need to get healthy. I ended up going to this women's expo and I found a company that I was like, oh, this is interesting. I had just been moved across the country from Washington State to South Carolina. I had a baby girl that was 1 and had just had a second trimester miscarriage, and then they found thyroid cancer. And I was searching. I needed friendship, I needed a support system, I needed community, and I needed to get healthy. So the opportunity that I found just kind of fell in my lap, and I was like, why not? Like, okay, I'm just gonna try it. And I ended up being really freaking good at it. Like, I just was really good at it. And it took off and it grew really fast. And unfortunately, I was on a team where the leader kept us kind of secluded away from everybody. I didn't even know what uplines were. I didn't know whose team I was on or what was going on. And when she left, I kind of had to take over everything. And then I started drowning. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that I'm really good at this and I don't know where to go from here. And then it started just kind of dwindling for a little bit because I went into manager mode. I had no idea what I was doing. And then some weird things happened and I decided that this last company was not in alignment with who I was or who I wanted to be or how I wanted to present myself to the world. And then I see this post from Amanda. And I had always looked up to Amanda. She's just sunshine. She just radiates this goodness. You can tell, you can just feel the warmth off of her, just the greatest person. And I saw this post and I reached out to her and I was like, I don't even care what you're doing, but I'm coming with you because I just need to align myself with people that I love and that I trust and that I know I'm not just a number two. I know I'm not just a paycheck two. I know I'm not just a box to fill. I wanted to be with like-minded business people. And so we jumped on this call. It was like, check everything out. It was January 15th, 2017. We had huge bonuses over here launching. And, everybody joined a minute later. Amanda joined a minute later. I joined, and then we just kind of hit the ground running. I was in a situation where I was freshly divorced. I had then 4 kiddos. So I had 1 baby, miscarriage, cancer. We ended up adopting. Turned out they were twins. Week later, I found out I was 3 months pregnant because during my cancer treatments, it had rendered my IUD useless. I was also in nursing school at the time. So life was really crazy and chaotic. And then all of a sudden, my ex-husband was like, "Hey, I'm out of the military." And I was like, cool. That probably should have been a conversation that we had. So our marriage ended, and I was a single mom to 4 children, 3 and under. And I was being faced with being kicked out of my home because everything was in his name because I was a stay-at-home mom. I gave up my career aspirations to I think a lot of people can relate to that. I gave up my career aspirations to support him and his military career. And so it was really weird. And I was just like, Amanda, literally, I have to have these bonuses. Like, there was not a maybe, there was not a, oh, I think I can do this. It was literally like life or death. I would lose my kids or I needed to get these bonuses. There was no questions about it. It was, how am I going to do this? Not, will I do this? If that makes sense. And we hit the ground running, all of us. Like, we just created this tight knit accountability group almost. We were in contact all day long, which really kept our fire lit. I highly recommend that. Highly, highly, highly recommend that. Rub shoulders with somebody, link up with somebody, have an accountability partner or small group that you guys check in with each other. And when somebody is on fire, it really keeps my fire going because I'm kind of competitive. And if they're, doing something and it's working, then it makes me fired up and I want to do stuff that works. And we just build off of each other. And it was super crazy and fun. I ended up hitting all the bonuses besides the 200K. I missed the 200K bonus by 2 weeks, and that's fine. I hit 12K. Gosh, I think it was like within 3 weeks or something. I know that I've always had my auto bonus. So I joined January, and then by February, by the auto bonus payout, I had it. And then that next month, 40K by conference, which was April. On the day of conference, I hit 80K. We made a little hiccup because we didn't really understand structure, and I didn't end up getting the bonus money because I placed somebody weird. But I did hit 80K that month. And then I ended up hitting my 200K. I think it was like July 12th or something. And the bonuses ended the very end of June. So I got, all up to 80K, and then I maintained them and got the full payout. But yeah, it was insane, and it was fun, and it was crazy, and it was wild. And it was just God. And I was dealing with a lot. I was going through a lot of court stuff. I was raising my kids by myself. I was in school. So I have 4 degrees. I'm kind of like Amanda. We're like lifetime education junkies. I have a degree in business. I have a degree in nursing. I have a degree in organizational leadership, and then I have a graduate's degree, a master's in strategic leadership. So I understand this business on a medical and scientific level. I understand this business on a psychological level. I understand this business on a sociological level. So I navigate network marketing a lot of different ways. And I think it's really important to keep yourself open and almost fluid with a business like this. You're going to be encountering a lot of different personalities and a lot of opportunities and a lot of change, especially because I run my business mostly social media, which changes a lot.
I'm glad though that you shared, you guys, like, I hope you took some notes. Like whenever she was talking about, she had already, first off, she already had a little bit of a background, right? When she joined Lavelle. So she had some experience. Some people join and they have no experience whatsoever. And those years sometimes are learning curves. Sometimes you come out right out of the gate. I can tell you in my first venture, I didn't really think I grew very fast, but I actually did. I actually did grow very fast. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it was because I was a social butterfly, right? And Lacie watched that kind of unfold, and then she watched it all unravel. And I really want to put something out there because she said we all kind of collaborated and we bounced off each other's energy. She also said she claimed that she needed it and she put it out there to the world and she like ran for it, right? It was like a need. It wasn't, I want this. It was, I need this, right? It was like for survival. Like she needed not only these products, but she needed this business to work for her. Therefore, she knew the only way that it was going to work was if she helped a lot of people. And as she just listed off, the degrees and so forth, she has an understanding of people. And Lacie's shared a bed with me. like literally she was like my partner in crime and always was on getaways. The person that came with me because my ex-husband never traveled with me. So when she says like literally she probably has got to know me as probably one of the best like people that have actually got to know the Amanda behind the screen, right? And I want you guys to know when you work from your heart and when you work from a place of wanting to help other people, right? Because I know Lacie said, she's like, I gotta watch Compliant because, because of having that knowledge and that background, sometimes we can tend to go into too much detail or say things that we really probably shouldn't say. And, guys, I want you to know that if you haven't achieved where you want to be yet, I want you to understand, have you focused on that growth that you need to be at to get to where you want to be able to lead the people that you want to lead. And Lacie, you said something about coming across different personalities in this business. And I want to talk about the setbacks for a moment. Okay. I want to talk about the setbacks because I know that you've gone through your fair share, of things that have happened in your life, in your personal life. You've also watched people come and go into your business over the years in your first venture and this venture. And what would you tell somebody on here right now to overcome those things for growth? What would you tell them?
So my pastor said something this last Sunday, and it's really been resonating with me. And this is literally the mindset that I've always had, because I've gone through a lot of life, guys. Like I've gone through a lot of life. Don't be the buzzard who looks for dead things. They're focused on the dead things. They're looking for the dead things. And guess what? They find the dead things. Be the hummingbird who looks for the sweet things and focuses on finding that sweet nectar. And guess what? They always find that sweet nectar because your perspective really shifts the trajectory of your life. And so that's something that I've always had, where people are like, dang it, Lacie, I'm just drawn to you regardless of what I'm doing, because one, I just love people. My motto in life is just love people on purpose. And when you're loving people on purpose, they can't help but to love you back, because your intentions are true and you're genuine. And, then it doesn't. And when you're truly loving people on purpose, you don't really allow anyone else to dictate your self-worth, to dictate your life choices, and to dictate your perspective. You just kind of allow them to be people and to make their own choices for their family, and be okay with never having the understanding or the explanation on why they do things. You just have to know, like, whatever, they're doing something, and it might not align with me, but it aligns with them, and I don't care. It's fine. So I've always had the perspective of that.
I absolutely love that. And I know I can see people over here saying the exact same thing. And that's why Lacie is just such a joy. She brings such a light to things. And you guys, I want to encourage you that, we tell people to do social media audits and things like that, right? And I'll be honest with you. I am such a feeler. I know Lacie is such a feeler as well. And people's energies really rub off on me. Okay. So if I am following people on social media that are like negative Nellies, or, just aren't aligning with me or my goals or anything. Right. And sometimes you guys, you can't help that. Because like when we were going through, when you're going through a divorce, unfortunately, you still got to face certain stuff. Right. But you can, on your social medias, unfollow people, snooze people, or so forth. And that's not cheering for them. Okay. So I don't ever want anybody to ever think that. But it does go with what makes you feel like empowered, what makes you feel good about yourself, what makes you don't want somebody else's perspective of things to cause your perspective to change. And I love that. Was so elegant the way you put it. I'm such a wordy person, but you're like, that was just wonderful. And I was at Tim's grandmother's funeral this past weekend, and the pastor was talking about a very pivotal time in his life when he was 21 years old. And he was just like, he went to the church that he had basically ran away from at 15. And he went back to the church and he tried to go in the door. And he was like, I tried to creak in the back of the door because I needed to be there. And the door was that old creaking sound. And when he opened the door, everybody turned around and stared at him. And he said he just hit the floor. And I thought, man, it was like all eyes on him. And I want you guys to think, for just one moment, when all eyes are on you, what message are you sending to everybody? What message? It's either going to repel or attract, right? And I think clearly by what Lacie's even talked about just in these last 20 minutes, you can see why so many people get drawn to her. And she's such a light, right? And so I want to challenge you guys that if you have somebody in your life or people in your life that are causing you to kind of shift your perspective in a negative light, or make you see things in ways that you aren't seeing the sun come out, or the clouds are shining, or the clouds are covering that sunshine, and you're just hearing nothing but negative stuff. I really want to challenge you for the remainder of the year to snooze them. And I want to watch you blossom and change the way that you see things by just fueling your brain every single day with something positive and saying some affirmations. I don't know how many of you guys practice this. I know Lacie does this. I know that she practices affirmations, and I'm going to kind of like, how would you tell somebody to kind of, um, work on kind of some of that? Because I think that's important aspect that we don't talk enough about is our mindset has to be set, right? And we'll get into some habits and some other building topics, but like, how would you tell somebody to kind of shift their mindset if they are surrounded by a lot of negativity or they're surrounded by a lot of pessimism? Because let's face it, you guys, when we joined network marketing, social media was like, um, let's just say everything was pyramid scheme. Everybody was like, oh, you're part of a pyramid scheme, and oh, you're gonna come crashing down and everything. And honestly, I just was like, watch me rock it. So what would you tell people? Because I know my friends, my family, and my coworkers, they weren't the most supportive people when I first started. And whether it's in business or it's in your personal life, you're going to have a lot of negative people sometimes. So what would you tell those people? Like, what would you tell people to how they can kind of get past that hurdle? Because I think sometimes when somebody's getting brand new started to this business, or they've been in for a while and maybe they haven't achieved what they want to achieve, that negative self-talk can sneak in.
Oh yeah, for sure. And um I'm very susceptible, like Amanda was saying, like I am very empathetic and I am very susceptible to energy or vibes or whatever you call it. I grew up in a super abusive home. I grew up, then I got married at 19 into something that I could spend hours talking on that I go to therapy for. And then, I've had all of these health. I've been diagnosed with cancer 4 times. I'm just starting up my breast cancer journey again, and the surgery went from one to now it's probably going to be another one that mentally I'm having to just. You have to be super intentional about your thoughts because you can go down a rabbit hole so quickly and it can spiral out so quickly. And it's so much easier to drag you down than it is for you to pull somebody up. It's so much easier to knock you off balance and drag you down into a spiral than it is for you to pull somebody up. So I am very, very intentional about my thought life because I also do struggle with anxiety and depression. That is something that I do struggle with. It's a lot of trauma responses just because of how my life worked out to be. So yeah, those morning affirmations, very intentional about my routine, and you have to create it into a habit. You just have to. It has to be a habit forming behavior where every morning you wake up and you tell yourself how freaking awesome you are. How freaking awesome you are. And I saw this video and it just really clicked into me. And it was Kendall Jenner, which you can think the Kardashians any way you want, but this was really powerful. She said that she really struggled with a lot of negative self-talk. She was very destructive in her thinking about herself. And one day she found an old picture of herself. She was like 5 and she hung it up on her mirror. And she said every time she had a negative thought, she would tell it out loud to that little girl, to her 5-year-old self. And then she saw how stupid that was and how wrong that felt. And it hit her so hard that she was just like, no, like that's not who I am. And why am I allowing other people or these thoughts to build my self-worth? Like she had allowed her self-worth to be in the wrong hands. She had allowed her self-worth to be in the hands of just shitty people. And why would you allow that? So I just take the time when I'm really affected by someone or something it feels like it's hurting me. I sit there and I evaluate, okay, do they pour into me? So why am I pouring into them so much? Do they build me up? So why am I allowing them to tear me down? Why am I allowing their opinion of me or their actions to hit so hard and to bring me down so hard. Who am I? And I am a Christian. I do love Jesus. So I always fall back on, who does God say I am? And that's all that matters. Who does God say I am? And that should be all that matters. So I saw this other video. I watch a lot of videos. Okay. I search it out. I search out resources. If somebody is talking to you and they're like, ugh, your purple dress is so ugly, but you're not wearing a purple dress, you're not going to allow that to affect you, because, one, I'm not wearing a purple dress, and two, they're projecting onto me something. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm wearing. I don't look stupid because I'm not wearing a purple dress. So when you know yourself so well, when somebody is saying something to you or about the business that you're aligning with, or about some aspect of your life that you align with, and you know yourself and what you're doing so well, those things kind of bounce off of you, because you're like, well, that's not who I am, or you don't see my bank account. So one, it's not a pyramid scheme, because if you saw what I saw and you see the bills that I have to pay every month, you would recognize that there is real money here and a real product. And so that does not fit a pyramid scheme. I also arm myself with resources and education. So when somebody says something and I'm like, then I research it, I get myself educated on it, and then I'm like, they don't really know what they're talking about, and they're just using these trigger words that they've heard from other people, and nobody's really spent the time researching it and being knowledgeable on it and getting to know it properly. So I just don't allow that stuff to affect me, because I don't allow other people to have so much control that they dictate my overall knowledge and perception of things. I take control of that. Right. So even if I respect somebody, even if I respect them and I love them, I trust, but I verify. So I'm like, that's interesting. I'm going to solidify that for myself. So I trust you,
and verify,
but I verify it. And then I allow it, I allow myself the respect and the time and the resources to figure it out on my own and determine if I'm going to accept it as a truth to myself, or whether I'm going to reject it and be like, no, sorry you feel that way, but I don't believe that. That's not on me. I'm not holding that. I'm not letting that stick.
I love that. Lacie, have you mainly, because I know you've kind of done a little bit of both, and I know now you started out though, kind of more like word of mouth. Like, I know you were definitely more of a word of mouth person. And as your life just kind of shifted, you've gone more to social media and so forth. I think it's important to share that knowledge from the word of mouth, though, right? From the in-person power that comes behind it, because there's so many people just working social media now, right? And they're missing out on so much. And I know, so even though you're mainly social media, I know you well enough to know that you thrive everywhere. And anybody that's ever rode with Chas Marie, just so you know, she's giving every Uber driver, every waitress, everybody, okay, a business card and connecting with them on social. All right. It was one of the most inspiring things. I think it was the trip to Nashville, possibly, was one of the first times I remember seeing it, and it was like 3-way calls down the road. It was just like, okay, like I got a lot to learn from this woman. So I want to hear your perspective on that, because I think a lot of people miss out on opportunities talking to everyday people that they see.
Yeah, I think and this is like a common theme that you'll hear from a lot of different leaders on calls like this, is adaptability. We adapt because we figured out, listen, I have 8 children. We're double blended on both sides. We're coming into the teen years. Everybody has crazy schedules. We've got a lot of different appointments all the time. I could easily have said, Eliana has guitar, Wyatt has speech, Amanda, I can't do this call. Or I can make this business fit into my life and my schedule and not allow my why to become my excuse. And I can say, are you guys offended that I'm in my car right now? No. Would you be offended if I was at a baseball game? No, because I've done calls at baseball games. Would you be offended if I was sitting waiting for my appointment and I jumped on and I shared some knowledge? No, that doesn't offend you. So don't be scared or allow that to hold you back and be an excuse. Like, is it really something that you can't do, or are you just don't want to do it and you're allowing it to be an excuse as to why you can't? So I think life changes and evolves and it's cyclical. And in the very beginning in 2012, I needed community. I was stuck in my house and I needed to get out. So I did a lot of events and I loved them because you meet so many different people, and whether they're buying your products or signing up with you doesn't matter. I do not hinder myself by limiting my friendships, if that makes sense. If somebody, I don't care what business they're in, if they're on fire, I'm following them. I want to know what they're doing. I want to know how they're phrasing things. I want to know what they're giving off into this world, because wherever the fire is, I want to be. Now, does that mean that you have to be in the same business with them? No, absolutely not. I have so many friends in industries like these that sell makeup. I'm not called to sell makeup. Okay. I have so many people in this industry that, like, I don't know, sell cleaning supplies. I don't want to sell cleaning supplies. That doesn't align with my life right now. I align with getting myself healthy and the way that it makes me feel. And these products are bomb ass. And if you knew and felt how I felt before these products, you would be forever on these 3 steps too. You would be forever on these three steps too. And I think the biggest thing that we get into the rut with is we try to overcomplicate it. And I do this all the time. I'm like, I need to move past that. And you don't even notice yourself that you're doing it. But something that Paul always says, it hits me every time. And I don't know why. I always forget it, but he hits me every time. He's like, Lacie, how did you feel on day 1, day 3, and day 10? That's all people care about. That's all they want to hear. That's all they want to know. Stop overcomplicating it. Just keep saying how you felt on day 1, day 3, and day 10. But you have to be adaptable and you have to be able to try new things. If it's not working for you, even if it's working for somebody else, drop it, dude. It's not working for you. If social media isn't working for you, do something in person. If in person doesn't seem like it's working for you, try something else. There's so many ways to work and to crowdsource and to get your name out there and network.
I want to encourage everybody to do something. Okay. I want to encourage everybody to do something. All right. I used to print up, and I know for a fact that on Pinterest, they have somebody help me out with the word, scavenger hunt. That's what I wanted to say. A scavenger hunt. Okay. And I used to do this in the very beginning, and I used to have my local team and I would get together and we'd go to the mall. All right. And it would be a mom with a stroller, somebody with glasses, or you could do it around your town. It doesn't even have to be around the mall, right? It could be a firefighter, a police officer, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, a secretary. Okay. And I want you to hand them your card, tell them about your products, right? Share with them what it is that you have your hands on. I used to post and put up lead boxes everywhere, little mom and pop stores. I'd put giveaways. People could enter into drawings. Now we have the QR code that we can put on our stuff and people can just, click and go to our website and enter to, as a free account or whatever, which is honestly the route that I do now, is that I have people create a free account in order to go into drawings and so forth. But they know what they're signing up for. I don't like sign people up for stuff that they don't know about or anything along those lines. They know what they're entering in for, right? But I used to sign up for Working Moons Wednesdays. Check and see if you have anything like that around you, right? And I'd set up a little table every single week, you guys. My kids were 2 and 9 at the time that I started in this industry. So I would work in the evening times more so, right? Because it was a little bit more chaotic during the daytime with a 2-year-old. So I would work my business as soon as I put my kids to bed at 9 o'clock until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I also worked midnight shift as a nurse, and I had 2 hospitals I worked at. So it was kind of like crazy town. And I would set myself up every single week that I sold a certain amount of samples. And those samples were to run my business. It is what put money in my pocket. It's how I got people to try the product. I would get together with people and I would like maybe give them a free sample if they got like 3 people to come. And listen, you can do it however you want to, but think outside that box. There's tons of vendor events and stuff right now that you guys can set up for, tables that you can set up for. Schools a lot of times have stuff. You guys have an opportunity, a free opportunity, right? A free opportunity. And people that say they don't have the time, they don't have the money, they don't know the people, we can teach them how to overcome each one of those objections. All right. We have the ability here. And that's one of the most powerful things about Lavelle, right? Is that
well, and something that we all do is like the people that make these opportunities work for them do not wait for somebody else to tell them what to do. They don't wait for somebody to give them an assignment. They don't wait for somebody to sign them up for something. They don't wait for somebody to invite them in on something. There's so many free resources out there. You don't need to be paying for a guru. There's so many free resources out there to learn how to do this business and make it work for you and your experience and your life and fit it in somehow, that you just have to put in that effort. And that's all we ask of everybody, is just put in effort. You just have to put in effort and consistent effort. And you can't allow those. So we talk a lot about non-negotiables. Now, my non-negotiables are the bare minimum that I do every day to maintain or slightly grow. So my non-negotiables are maintenance or slight growth. And then on top of that, anything extra that I do is, for momentum and growth and whatever. But my non-negotiables, these are things that I have to, and I just go robot mode. I do them every single day. And you have to develop them in your business, because this is a business. And if you want it to pay you like it is a business, you have to operate it as if you are in a business and you are the business. You are the face of this company, and you have to be the one that presents it to your world and your circle and your network, because they're not going to know about us unless you're telling them or you're showing them or you're exposing them to it. And guess what? They're going to get exposed to it. And wouldn't you rather them coded to you than to me? So they're going to be exposed to it. You just want them, like Maria said, hey, this might not be for you right now. And I get it, totally fine. But would you mind creating this free customer profile? Because when you change your mind, I want you thriving with me. When you've got to change how you say things, the confidence in this business, the confidence in these products, people are drawn to that confidence. And you just say, not if, just when. And it's super simple, totally fine. Get it. But when you change your mind, I want you thriving with me. So will you do this? It takes 5 seconds. It's an email, nothing else. And then you maintain that contact.
I am so glad you shared that, because I'll tell you what, I literally just the other day, I was looking up inspirational stuff, right? And somehow I came across the very first message I messaged to my very first sponsor, who was my cousin in my first business. All right. And at the time, I was working 5-6 days a week. My ex-husband was laid off. And like I told you guys, my daughters were 2 and 9. I didn't tell this part of the story for a very long time, but my husband had an affair and he worked with the girl that he cheated on me with. And that's why I made him quit his job. So I said, I'll go work. I'll make double the money and I'll work 5-6 days a week. I don't even care. You're not going back to work. Right. That's why he was laid off. Anyhow, but so you can imagine I was working from a place of hurt and so forth, right? But about a year and a half into that, I was exhausted and I missed my kids. I missed my kids. And my mom knew it. And she didn't know all the details, but she sent me a message about my cousin who was in this industry. And I remember that I was trying to find it because I literally just saved the picture the other day of it. But I just messaged her and I was like, so what do you do? Just share these things? Like, I mean, I'm kind of interested about this because I really would love to cut back my hours and just be able to be home with my kids more. Talk about your why. I have a 19-year-old and a 12-year-old, you guys, that every time I doubt myself, they say, Mom, you are the strongest person I know. Holy cow. And I know Lacie has had these conversations as well, but I'll tell you what, you guys, some of the most inspirational people have gone through some of the absolute biggest storms, and they have found, instead of allowing it to block them, and I am such a crier. You guys have got to get used to me. Okay. I cry over everything. But it's like happy tears, sad tears, good tears, excited tears, whatever, right? Tears. But I'm extremely emotional and I can't help it. But you have got to find the gratitude and have to realize that life's going to keep on going. All right. And you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice of what you choose to focus on. You have to make a choice of, Lacie just said it a moment ago, like the people that decide to take their business and go off and learn and so forth. You guys, my uplines, I passed everybody in my first venture. In fact, I think it's a lot of the do with why some of them kind of turned on me. Because I kind of passed them up, to be honest with you. And it was hurtful, especially one of them being my own cousin. But I didn't look at that as like a downfall. I didn't even care what rank I was. And Lacie can tell you this. I did not care what rank I was. I was not even equivalent to what a 4K is here. But you would have thought that I was a 200K because I was learning and then I'd come back and I'd teach it. If I didn't have the resource, I would learn it and I would come back and I'd teach it. And I would practice and practice and practice and practice. And I didn't even care. And people were like, all of a sudden, like, who is this girl? Like, where is she coming from? And I was achieving things because I spoke it into existence and I believed, and like I kept on learning. And like I know Lacie has done this as well over the years, but you guys, I promise you, when you adapt and you search out those resources and you say, you know what, I'm claiming this is who I am. It's kind of like talking to that 5-year-old little girl or little boy. I see there's some guys on there. Hey, Randy. like literally, you have to speak to that 5-year-old self. Like, how would you talk to them? I can tell you this.
Like your child. Like, would
Yeah.
you ever look at your beautiful, perfect child and say those things? Like, no, you would never do that. You would never do that. So you have to be kind to yourself and you have to give yourself the grace that you extend to other people. And also, you can't, like, something that I love that Amanda does, I do. Chas is like, oh my gosh, she radiates it. We don't wait for other people to pour the positive into us. We when the world feels dark and things are hard and something really just awful is going on, we push back on it and we say, absolutely not. And we create that positive trickle. I call it sprinkling Jesus. You can call it whatever you want. But I literally go out with the intention of bringing joy or a little bit of, I call it like a hug or like a wink to somebody else's day, complimenting somebody, paying for their lunch or their drink, dropping off a present or a letter at somebody else's house, like just anything that is positive and kind. And it really shifts it in your mind, guys. Like it's so powerful. It's so powerful. The universe or God or whatever you believe in honors that genuine kindness. It just does. And it becomes this bigger domino effect of other people doing the same things and joining ranks with you. And just, it turns your entire life around. So then when you go to the doctors and they tell you something super scary, you can be like, whoa,
Yeah.
but I'm okay. Like, whoa, that's crazy, but I'm okay. We can get through this. It's not the end. It's a bump. It's a hiccup. It's a speed bump. It's like, okay, how can we get through this and not like, man, this is the end of me, you know?
And you know what? Let's shift gears for just a second because we got about 15 minutes or 13 minutes or something like that left till payday and till we have to wrap this up. I definitely want to hit on, first off, we're closing out the week, right? We're closing out the week and auto ships are going to be running tomorrow, you guys. So make sure you're following up with people. Thanksgiving week, which is a great time for to be thankful, right? And gratitude. But we also have some pretty exciting things coming in the new year. And I think it's important that, you know, I've heard different things from people and so forth. And some people are like kind of sad about like the way Elite is. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm excited about the way Elite is. Cause for those that really want to lose weight, I'm like, dude, the formula is literally targeted towards gut health. And like, if you really look at the ingredients and you research each ingredient, do that. Okay. If you haven't and you're not excited about it, I promise you will be, because gut health is huge, right? And it's huge in your weight loss journey. So with Thrive Elite coming, some of you guys don't need to lose weight. So how are you going to get excited? How are you going to get excited about something that you yourself don't need? I really want to ask you, Lacie, how would you tell somebody, because here's the thing, there's some people that aren't going to be excited about weight loss, right? And there's some products, you guys, I care less about, to be honest with you. However, I'm still going to share this. Why? Because this literally, Lavelle changed my trajectory of my health and the way I took care of myself, the way I fueled my body, and so forth. Right. And so with Thrive Elite launching and around the corner, how are you putting it out there? How are you getting people pumped and excited about it?
So I'm going to start driving. But okay, here's one of the things that if this is not the way that you run your business, you can turn your ears off. You don't have to align or agree with everything that I do or say. Just throwing it out there. If I personally don't feel like it, like I don't use the skincare products. I know I have very sensitive skin and they actually just did not align with what my skin loves. So I just don't really talk about them. Okay. If you're not aligned with weight loss and you don't feel like that's something that you want to talk about or you want to focus on, You don't have to advertise every single product that we have. But if you see somebody that needs it and you're gatekeeping it and you're not sharing it, why are you not sharing it? Like, why would you gatekeep that? Why would you stay quiet about it? Why wouldn't you put it out there as an option, even if it's not something that you're going to be using or whatever? So I definitely don't gate, and I look at it as a business opportunity too. I don't prejudge people. I don't project onto them what they need or they want, or I don't convince myself in my mind that they don't need something or they don't want something, or why would they, whatever. I give people the information and I let them decide for themselves. Now, I am super freaking excited about Elite. So I've already been putting things out there of why I'm excited, what it could do for me, what it could do for other people. And you put out those teasers and those feelers to build that excitement. You invite people on the journey with you. You invite people to be on like your list or your VIP list. Then it's people feeling in control of their own situation. And they're kind of giving you, I mean, not kind of, they are giving you the permission to reach out to them. You're getting them in your system and you're literally saying, who wants this information? And to stay in the know about this. And then they're saying, yes, me, please add me to that list. And then you have your list. They've done all the work for you.
I get so excited.
They've done the work for you.
I'm so excited that you're talking about this, because I literally have 2 pages already of people that have asked about it and have asked me to message them as soon as it's released, right? 2 pages,
and then message them, do it. Like, that is on you. You have to do it. Like, follow up with them. That is your work. That is the consistency. Follow up with them. But they've already given you permission.
Go to your messenger and type in weight loss, okay? Because there have been people that specifically, maybe even 6 years ago, I don't know if you've been in 6 years or however long you've been in, specifically wanted weight loss, specifically asked about gut health, okay, you guys? I want you to go Google the benefits of gut health. I want you to literally think about some of these things and how they can help somebody. I'm going to be 42. Yeah, I'm at 42 in February. And I'm going to be honest with you, my post this morning, when I got up, I went and looked at my profile pictures over the years. And that's what triggered me to make my post this morning, is that I made a post, and it didn't even show my, it didn't really even show my products or anything. But I get up, I take my 3 steps, and, I'm a Black Label girl. I made my smoothie, and you guys, I told my husband, I said, I'm pretty sure I lost 5 pounds. Like, I'm not even joking, because when I have my shake, I have to go to the bathroom. All right. It's just how I operate. And it is. It's just how I operate. And especially because I've been taking balance again, because I was struggling, and I went and had a colonic because I was struggling right before my wedding, because guess what? I had quit taking my balance. Right. And last year, I did the detox, and I'm not going to talk about the C word right now, but I ended up getting that right in the dead center of my detox. But when I restarted taking my Thrive again, holy moly. Okay. I remembered why I quit, why I started taking it, and why the very first day I was a day 1 Thriver. Let me just tell you what. My ex-husband was a day 10, 20, or 30 Thriver. And he'd be like, why are you so excited? And I'll tell you why, because his gut health sucked. Okay. So it took a longer time for him, and he had a terrible diet. And I didn't have the best diet when I first started thriving. But this Elite, it might not be for you, but if you hold it in, you're not helping anyone. Right? You're not helping anyone. Quit being afraid to share with people things that can change their lives, things that can make people excited, things that people are literally looking for, that they are literally posting. Think about Amber last week. If you guys were on this call, Amber was talking about like how she reached out to Chas because Chas made a post, okay, about being tired. And she was like, just hear me out, you know? And it was the same way that Maria reached out to her, right? And even though neither one of them were, you know, they were skeptical at first, they just kept on following up. And you know, with Chas, she was like, I don't know about the business, but I'm definitely interested in your product. But then she tried it and she fell in love with it. And the same thing with, well, Amber accidentally created a promoter account, right? And don't ask how I memorize these stories. I've heard them a bazillion times, but I also just have a memory like that. But I can't repeat a quote to save my life, or a story, like straight. But literally, I want you guys to think about that. Like, there are people that you think have these perfect lives. From the outside perspective, people would have thought my life was perfect a couple years ago. All right. And while it was crashing down. And in fact, I just made a TikTok about it. It was like, I'm back, because I remembered my own power. I remembered why I started thriving. I remembered why, and it did a lot of self digging. And I want to challenge you guys this year as you finish up the rest of this year. And, you know, we have Black Friday sales coming. You guys make sure you're sharing that, because people, that's what they want. They want sales this week. Okay. So Friday, like 1 a.m. or something, and they're going to launch. I don't know what they are, but get your list together now, because people want to know. Just post Black Friday sales, right? I'm getting my Black Friday list. If you want to be notified, let me know. I'll notify you, right? Put it in your stories. People sometimes comment there. Put it everywhere, a little bit of sprinkles, right? But let's see, Lacie, you are driving. I hate that. I'm so sorry. I'm going to let you, finishing up this week and this call, I want you to tell people your best advice that you would give them to grow their business and to grow their mindset and to create some new habits. I gave her a whole bunch of things. She's like, oh, Amanda, why'd you say so much? All right. How about this? What would you tell people to finish the year? Let's just go there.
Listen, finishing the year, okay. This business is cyclical. It's anything sales and marketing. Fourth quarter sets up the first quarter. And anybody who's ever been in this business knows first quarter is, oh my God, so vomit worthy awesome that if you do not have your habits formed in the fourth quarter to make up for what is happening in the first quarter, you can lose out. Okay, so set up your system now.
She's all over the place now.
List ready. Get your list ready now. You hear me? I'm breaking up.
You were breaking up, but she's like, you were breaking up a little bit, but I think everybody knows what you were saying. Is like, literally get your habits now, because, and people that have been on Zooms before know, I always say this, how you finish a month is how you're going to start a month, right? And how you finish the fourth quarter is how you're going to go into the new year and that first quarter of 2023. And if you do not decide to make your business actually a business and work around the nooks and crannies, like maybe you have a full-time job, maybe you have kids or whatever, or, you know, your schedule is whatever. Okay, we're all crazy. But make your decision. If like, this is a hobby, that's cool. It's okay. You can have hobby money. All right. I want you to still have a lot like hobby money that changes, you know, things for you. But if you really want this business to be something that you are changing lives, let me tell you something. The biggest reward that I've ever had is when that woman right there that's driving her car with her kids bought a home for her family. That, my friends, is life-changing. All right.
And can you imagine if Amanda gate kept that? Like, can you imagine if Amanda kept her mouth shut and didn't post about this opportunity? Do not gatekeep this. Do not gatekeep the products. Do not gatekeep the business. It doesn't matter if you aren't taking all the products. It doesn't matter if you're running the business for a hobby or $100 extra in your pocket. And don't prejudge and set somebody else's bank account. You don't know what their bank account looks like. You don't know what their budget looks like. You don't know, like, don't be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, do you need a discount? Or you go into it like, oh, like apologetic, oh, I'm so sorry, I know these products are expensive.
Yep.
Like, don't do that. Just say, this is what it is, this is what it does, what do you need? And work with somebody on how, you know, if they need it to be less, like, there are things that you can do to work within somebody else's budget. But also, don't hold somebody back or not share this business. Literally, I needed it. And I, like, if Amanda
payday, by the way.
No, like, if she would have said, Lacie, I'm not talking to you about this because I'm scared about the consequences that might happen with you leaving another company, or I'm scared about what people are going to say, or I'm scared and I don't want people talking bad about me because people are following me, I literally would have been living in my car and I would have lost my children.
You guys,
but instead she invited me with her, and then 6 months later I closed on a brand new home that I built, and I put a brand new fully loaded Escalade in my driveway that is paid for, and I had furniture because I left with nothing and no one, and I was able to fill my house with furniture and my fridge with food, and I had my kids. So you just don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what they're struggling with because people just don't post about that.
Yep. It's not all highlight reels, you guys. I love you, Lacie. I know we could continue going on and on. You guys, it's payday. I'm going to get this recording up. Lacie, thank you so much, you guys. I hope you were inspired by today's call. I'll put this up soon. Drive safe, hun. Thank you so much. And everybody have an amazing Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining us today.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye, guys.